What's up, everybody? Thanks for tuning into the podcast. This is your host, Jason Schnitzer, and I am the husband coach. Here's your next episode. All right, what I've got for you today is what is Face the Storm. As I'm sure you guys have seen all over my social media, my website, my hats, all the things, I have this motto, and it's called Face the Storm. And really, it's kind of the backbone of the cornerstone, the foundation to what it is that I do and help men do, and that is face their own storm. And what is the storm? Well, at least in my experience, when I was growing up, my family, friends, society told me whenever there was something that I was going through that was difficult, more or less to suck it up. And in a way that the things that I was feeling weren't necessarily real. And the best way to deal with them is to, not pay attention to them and do the thing anyway. Not pay attention to them and, basically repress them, right? And that, of course, in the short term has its place, right? An example of this would be I'm really tired, but I need to do this last set in the gym, or I'm really tired, I got to take this last roll, in jiu-jitsu, or, I'm really tired, but I gotta, get these emails done to, finish out something that I'm doing for work or hit a deadline or something like that. So it definitely, being able to turn off feelings and do something anyways is a valuable skill to have. However, if that is how you're living your life, and every time you have something come up that's uncomfortable, you don't pay attention to it and you do something anyways, that can lead to, at least in my life, potential for disaster, right? Because what happens when we don't face the things that come up for us? It's not like they go away, right? They just get stuck inside of us, right? And really, emotion is energy in motion, okay? It's kind of how I like to think about it. And when you ignore emotions and you ignore, alarms going off internally for a long enough time, that becomes its own weight that you carry around. It's almost like no matter where you go, no matter how good things are in your life, no matter how much money you make, the job that you have, how healthy your family is, how good you look in the mirror, all the things, if you have that weight and that storm following you around, it goes wherever you go. You could go on the nicest vacation, you could drive the nicest car, you could live in the nicest house. It doesn't matter. You could move out of state. Doesn't matter. It follows you everywhere. And so going back to the whole idea of what emotion is, energy in motion, if you don't allow that to have its presence within you and be able to sit with it to a certain degree, it's just going to stay stuck inside of you. And, very common, symptoms and side effects of if this is you, it's well, do you have anxiety? Lots of anxiety. Do you feel depressed sometimes? When you're with people that you love, are you still feeling disconnected, right? Are you unhappy at times? Is it difficult for you to stay motivated? Is it difficult for you to not procrastinate? Is it difficult for you to not doom scroll? Is it difficult for you to not consume certain substances? Is it difficult for you to sit down and listen to hard things that your wife has to say? Do you get triggered emotionally easily when your wife says something about you or asks for something, and do you take that on as blame? Do you get defensive easily? Are you extra sensitive to criticism? I could go on and on and on with the list of things that are potential side effects for you not facing the storm. And I'm here to tell you, dude, you make perfect sense. And what I mean by that is like, this is such a common thing for men because of the reasons why I started off this podcast is like, man, most of us are raised not to be connected with our disappointment, our sadness, our grief, our pain, all of the difficult emotions. We're taught to just, hey, silent is strong. Suffer in silence. Suck it up. Don't be a baby. All of those things are just mantras and mottos that I see out there in society, at least in my own life, in my own sphere. And so why you make perfect sense is like, you have no practice in being able to do any of this stuff, right? You have 0 reps. Like I was just what I like to say, it's like, bro, you're skipping leg day, right? And you've skipped your leg day your entire life, and now you're gonna go try to squat 300 pounds. You're gonna try to, process some really hard stuff with your wife or your girlfriend or your fiance when tensions are high and stress is high, and now all of a sudden, like, there's kids involved and you've got a mortgage and car payments and all the things. And then you're trying to deal with these like really difficult emotional things. It's like, yeah, of course you're not going to know what to do. Of course you're not going to want to have hard conversations. Of course you're not going to be able to not take things personally or critically because you don't know how to do any of this stuff. So really, the whole idea of facing your storm is to be able to finally sit with the shit that you've been avoiding more or less your entire life. Okay, and once you are able to do this, and of course you want to do this in a slow, steady trickle as opposed to just facing the entire monsoon that's behind you all at once. You want to build your capacity, right? You want to go out there and face it a little bit at a time. And what you'll find is the more you're able to do this, it's kind of like surfing, right? Like you go out and you're first starting to learn. It's like you're going to want to learn on like 1 to 3 foot waves, right? You don't want to just like go out and go straight to like pipeline or whatever and get out there in like 10 to 15 foot waves. It's like you got to like learn how to do it. But after a while, all of a sudden those 1 to 3 foot waves are kind of boring. You're like, oh, sweet, where are the 3 to 6 foot ones? And the 6 to 9, and then the 9 to 12, until it's like you're out there in a freaking monsoon, just riding a wave like it's no big whoop. And once you're able to do this, man, it is like you are able to unlock a whole new, it's like unlock levels, because there's multiple levels, multiple layers of your life that you're going to gain access to that you never thought was even possible. And I'm here to tell you, it's like, some people right now that are listening to this podcast might think like, oh yeah, that's great. Like he can do it, but I can't. And it's like, that is the mentality that I had for so freaking long. And it makes sense. Okay. And once you kind of learn the foundational bits of the toolkit that I teach, like it'll make perfect sense why you feel that way. It'll take the shame out of it. You'll not feel like you're alone on an island anymore. And that's really the important part, is to be able to come off that island of thinking like, yeah, but they don't know my life, and my problem's different, and there's nothing that I can do about it to fix it. And I understand why you feel that way. And I'm also here to tell you that there are answers and there are tools to deal with that. And really facing the storm is having the courage to look in the mirror and look at your flaws and look at those dark parts of you and the shadow parts of you that, you keep buried deep within and you don't want to talk about with anybody, the things that you're ashamed of, the things that you hold near and dear that you wouldn't ever let anybody else see. It's like when you're able to face those things and you're able to do that with somebody that really gets and understands you, man, you are able to let go of so much that you have been carrying for, I mean, you tell me how long you've been carrying it, dude. Years. Usually for my clients, it's tens of years. At least for my own experience, there are some things that I've been carrying around for over 20 years that after you face the storm, after you build your toolkit and you're able to really sit in the stuff that, you're more or less afraid to do. I mean, at least for me, I was afraid to do it. You're able to drop that weight and that burden of carrying it around with you everywhere you go. And when you drop that weight, all of a sudden you feel lighter to do whatever it is that you wish you could have done in the past, to chase your dreams, to, be the husband that you've always aspired to be the man that you've always aspired to be. And the best part is, if you have kids, you will get to pass this on to them. Because a lot of times these problems are like really pervasive in our life. The things that we carry, they affect a lot of different aspects of our life, our marriage, our business, our friendships, our family. And the cool part about finally fixing a very pervasive problem is the result is amazing. It doesn't just, heal the relationship in your marriage. It also trickles over into your business. It trickles over into how you show up as a man. And how you show up as a man is super important, not only to your family, but to your friends, to your business. And it's almost like a snowball at the top of the hill, that picks up steam and then more or less just doesn't stop. So hope that gives a pretty good, understanding of my belief in facing the storm. And, in every situation, if I'm in something difficult, it's just a really good motto to keep at hand. It's like when I'm figuring out what I want to do, it's like usually the right answer is by facing the storm. That's usually the answer that's usually most beneficial for me, for the people closest to me, for the people in the relationship where the problem is that whatever it is that I'm dealing with. And again, maybe this seems overwhelming for you. And if it is, 100%, what I did was I got a coach, and he was able to help me through all of this stuff. And since then have learned to do that for myself and to help other men do the same. And that's really my mission, is to help change one man at a time. And, once you're able to change the trajectory of your life, the cool part is like, not only do you change it for you, but as the masculine and as the leader of your family, you shift the entire trajectory of where your family is headed. And, of course, then all of a sudden that affects where your kids' families head and their kids' family. So it's generational work, really, is what you're getting into when you invest in yourself for this kind of stuff. So if you're curious and you want to learn more about this Face the Storm stuff, check me out on Instagram, Jason Schnitzer Coaching. I have a link there in my bio where you can go to my website and check more out about me, what I'm about, my story, all that stuff. And of course, links to book a call if you are just like, dude, I'm ready to go. Let's freaking go. That's the kind of guys that I'm looking for, that know that there's some stuff going on. They have the desire, they have the drive, they just don't have the toolkit yet. And that's what I'm here to give you guys. So thanks for watching, and I'll catch you guys on the next one.